Welcome to our next episode of How We Make It in New York.
Hello. Nice to
Hi.
see you again.
Yeah, well, I see you every morning.
I know. I know. We can't
But
really, we're just not going to get rid of each other. I don't know.
I guess not. I guess not. So far, so good. I
That's
can't
right.
believe that it's almost April. Quarter one is like almost over for 2026. It flew by.
Oh, it so did. Where did the winter go? Well, I'm happy that it's gone,
No,
actually.
yeah, I'm happy it's gone. I'm ready for spring. I'm ready for summer. I feel like this winter really pummeled New York City.
Yeah, it really did. And there's so much to look forward to now that the weather's
Yes.
getting a little nicer. Businesses are kind of like reopening or getting ready for, the spring season. So there's a lot of opportunity, a lot of interesting things happening in New York,
Yeah.
especially. Yeah.
Hopefully, a lot of people fighting with a lot of problems too for you.
Yeah, that always helps for me. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, yeah, business over here, real estate, I mean, is booming. It's insane. We have like everything is its own cycle, and I feel like now we're in like an up cycle. Like things are really
Mm.
moving. I feel like I can't keep up, but I can.
Well, you're doing it. You're doing everything you can. Every day you're always there for your clients, which
Yes,
is the most important part, right?
big
Being
closing this week.
available,
That went really,
communicative.
really well. That was like that's like a good like jumping off. They're super
Yeah.
happy. So that went great. Yeah, and the market's it's doing really well. I mean, the world is like kind of on fire, but you know what?
Well, exactly. I think I know where you're
But
going
people
to
still want to
say.
be in New York.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
But it is also true that when things are in turmoil, there's a lot of
Yeah.
opportunities
That's
to
what I
be had.
always say. That's what I say too.
Business opportunities, creative opportunities,
Mhm.
lots going on in the entertainment world, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We just came off of all of the awards season.
Mhm.
But we don't really have in the entertainment, we don't have like the normal like pilot season thing anymore. So there's always things being created. There's
Mhm.
always something happening. And so today with our guest that we have, that's going to be a really interesting conversation, especially every time you turn on the news now, besides hearing doom and gloom, you also hear about AI.
Oh yeah.
So we talk about that literally all of the time, right?
I know
Like
we have to. I mean, it's like it
crazy.
just it's omnipresent in our world right now.
Yeah. What about on the legal end? I mean, just for your business, I think like AI is everywhere.
AI is everywhere. Every firm now is at least aware of AI and its potential. Many firms are using AI to help with drafting documents, legal research,
Mhm.
client communications. It's helpful. But of course, there are many issues with it. There are privacy concerns. A lot of attorneys are getting in trouble by not adequately checking case law when they submit a brief that was drafted
Mhm.
by
Mhm.
AI. Apparently, there's a big risk that the AI models will hallucinate and put out cases that don't exist. And judges are not very happy when they come across uh, motions or briefs with
Oof,
cases that just don't exist. And,
that's it.
they love to call out attorneys for making those mistakes. And
Yeah.
it's not a very good look for those attorneys. But anyway, AI, of course, is also affecting jobs as we know.
Yeah.
So that is in my world as well. When people get laid off, it may or may not be because AI is doing their job better, and the company is saving money by laying them off. So, these are a lot of emerging issues related to this new technology that is really reshaping the world.
Definitely, definitely. I mean, in terms of like the housing market, I was reading something the other day where there's a people are getting laid off and then they can't really obviously afford these mortgages or these rents, and then there's like a whole cyclical thing. So we'll see what happens, but I think our guest has a really interesting perspective because she deals with all types of entertainment influencers, which is a whole can of worms because
Mhm.
everyone wants to be an influencer now. I know that we have some young people in our life, and we ask them what they want to be when they grow up. They're like, "I want to be an influencer. I want to be a
Yeah.
YouTube star." Okay,
She protects influencers. She
but
makes,
she, yeah,
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 she helps them become aware of their rights, their responsibilities, the issues that can take place once they, get involved in these, in these contracts, these
Mhm.
marketing relationships with these, much larger conglomerates. So
Yeah.
it's crucial to have an attorney like Alyssa in their corner.
Yeah, definitely. So I think that there's a lot that people can learn from her. I'm really excited to have this conversation.
Mhm.
So let's see where it goes. And welcome to our third episode here of 2026. And today we have Elissa Hecker from Law Office of Elissa Hecker. Hello.
Welcome.
Thank
Hi,
you so much for joining us today.
happy to be here. This is exciting.
Yeah. Alyssa, you're an entertainment attorney. I'm very excited to speak to you today because my background is also in the entertainment business. And given all the things that are happening in the world, we need you and we need to know a lot. Everything you're saying is that everyone needs to know, but anyone who's in the entertainment
Yeah,
business or anyone who nowadays, like, I feel like everyone is a creator or on social media or
yeah.
creating things. We need to hear from you and we need to learn from you today. So everyone should be listening. So I'm
I
going
mean,
to
I like that. That's a good.
yeah.
We're
Yeah.
done. That's
Yeah. So
Yeah,
everyone
that's
continue to
it.
listen to this episode.
Okay.
So just like give us a little bit of your background. Like how did when did you want to know you were an attorney? How did you become an attorney? How did you get to working into entertainment? Like what's your firm like? Who do you work with? Just give us a little background.
So, I was a copyright nerd even when I was little. I would put a C in a circle and it would say all rights reserved. And it's supposed to be, oh, I'm sorry, it would say all rights deserved and it's supposed to be all rights reserved in my kindergarten artwork and everything. My dad is one of the first members of the copyright bar, and I grew up around artists and creatives and actors and models and things like that. And I was also a dancer. So I knew I wanted to be involved in entertainment somehow, but I also knew that I wasn't good enough to make that my career. And it's also a very hard life. So, being a lawyer, as Michael knows, is creative problem solving. And I'm able to work with the creators or the creatives and let them do what they do best. And I'm able to help on the back end. So, very long story short, I was raised in a very arts and entertainment related background and knew that always had to be part of my life.
Wonderful.
Amazing. And
So,
then but you're a solo attorney,
I'm a
right?
solo practitioner.
Perfect.
I am the only one. I don't have anybody who works with me. But I do have an incredible amount of resources, which is really nice. So that if I can help my client with something, I have, 10 people who can and who I know will treat my client like I will. So it's a great network.
yeah,
That's great. And I would just say, I think nowadays too, people really want to work one-on-one. And Michael, you can definitely touch upon this, that people are starting to shy away from the big firm, all the fees, and like the one-on-one relationship too is much more
absolutely.
powerful.
Yeah,
Yeah, right?
people need personalized attention. And that's something that
Mhm.
in this day and age I think is lacking with a lot of different law firms. But I think, us solo practitioners, we get it. Where we pick up the phone at,
Mhm.
1 o'clock in the morning sometimes, or of course, even on the weekends, we're there for our clients. Um, but
Yeah.
going back to what you were saying before, it's nice to hear that you're not a boring attorney, that you really come from an
I
interesting
love what
background.
I do. I have to say, I know a lot of people my age, I'm older than you are, kind of feel stuck in their law jobs and they're at the bigger firms. One of the things I love about being a solo practitioner is also I do all transactional work. So Michael does litigation and I do transactional. So I act as general counsel to all of these creatives because that's their business. So every day I'm getting to work with people who are just changing the world. And it's really fun.
Yeah. And speaking of changing the world, the term AI, we all hear it. It's everywhere. I'd say for what, the past 3 years, like, it started maybe 3 years ago, I think, maybe a little, maybe sooner. I don't, I can't remember the exact date I started hearing the term, but we all know that AI is taking over so many industries. It's going to be reshaping how we work, and it's certainly reshaping the entertainment industry at this point.
Absolutely.
So based on the work that you do. So what are you seeing now? Like, for instance, how would you say the laws are keeping up with AI? Federal laws, New York. What are you seeing?
So they're not, for starters. I know, there's I believe the administration has recently called together an AI task force. Businesses are regulating themselves a little bit. I know a lot of groups like the Authors Guild and some of the other big group, Disney and some other companies and organizations are coming up with licensing structures with various different AI generating companies. Um, it's kind of like the Wild West, where it's it's difficult. It's very difficult to navigate, but at the same time, there are some basic protections people can try to put in place so that their content is protected. In addition to their name, image, and likeness, their voices. There are some companies out there that are actually licensing your voice. So what happens is you can license for a particular amount of money, and then you have avatars made for that voice that people can hire. Or if you're someone like Matthew McConaughey, he trademarked his catchphrases, and he's licensing his voice, but for a premium. If you're a celebrity, you can do it for a premium. So it's sort of protected. So creatives are getting in there, the unions are getting in there, and there's a lot of conversations.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'm a member of SAG-AFTRA, and so I'm always reading all of these new regulations or
Hmm.
whatever contracts that are being sent, and I do a lot of voiceover work too. And
Yes.
so sometimes the words that always catch my eye are in perpetuity.
Well, it's
So,
not just that. There are clauses. If I'm drafting
yeah,
for someone who's hiring a creative, I will put a certain clause in the contract about the use of AI or the use of other things
yeah.
potentially in perpetuity. If I'm drafting a contract for a creator who's being hired, I make sure that like their name, image, and likeness or their works or whatever they're doing will not be used for a generative AI model. Things like that. There's different language that we now put in, and I
Mhm.
believe that, like, I know the Authors Guild and I know the unions have language that they suggest to put in. So if nothing else comes out of this conversation, read and understand your contracts. And if you
Yeah.
don't understand, ask a lawyer, because you want to make sure that you understand exactly what you're giving and what you're getting. And you may be giving away way more than you know.
A hundred
Yeah.
percent, 100%. And it's crazy because sometimes like I know like for certain voiceover jobs that I've done where I've gone in studio, you're
Mm-hmm.
there like sometimes you're only there for like an hour, 45 minutes, and then they give
Mm-hmm.
you like a really good amount. I mean, and that was like the last time I was in studio was actually a while ago. But then you're thinking about it, what if they just used like my voice that they captured under like the best,
They
the
can
best
use it to
studios?
train a model and then
Exactly.
sell it out to 50,000 different clients.
And yeah, and maybe you
Yep.
got a great paycheck for that 1 day studio session and then like whatever, but they could be using it and you get and like as an actor or any
There are
type of
no
artist,
residuals.
there's no sometimes, but
Yep.
also you get so excited when they pick you because there's thousands and thousands of
Yeah.
people that they submit. So when they pick you, you're so
Yeah.
excited. You're like, whatever, I'm gonna, I don't do that, but
Yeah.
I'm married to a lawyer. I know better.
Well,
But
that's the thing also
but
with a lot of creators, like when you get, because if you're a gig worker or
yeah,
if you're really,
yeah,
if you're not attached to a project for a long time, or if you're a first time author or something and you're like, I will not have another opportunity like this. So
right,
therefore, I'm not even going to ask questions. I'm not even going to try to negotiate.
yeah,
That's when you have to stop and say, I need to think about this. I need to be able to do
yeah,
this. Everything is negotiable. It's just to what degree. But it is again very important to go back to that contract and be like, well, and do I even want to do this after I read
right.
that? Or
And
is this a great opportunity? And can we add to it?
yeah, and then you like it's so dense, and you're just excited. So I understand why people could just say, "I'll just sign whatever," or I don't want to spend money on an attorney. But
Right.
now I think too in 2026 with the AI like really like taking over and
Hmm.
so like accessible. I mean, it's been that way, but like now I just feel like it's really out there. We have to really
Right.
read it, even if it like there's a lot of zeros in that first paycheck. Like, how many zeros are you leaving behind?
Right. Well,
Yeah.
people should just ask ChatGPT if they need a lawyer.
I'm pretty sure ChatGPT says yes. Oh God. Oh God.
Yeah. Well, but with that also for folks who are creators, so I put this under don't put your financials in ChatGPT, don't put your medical information in any large language learning model.
Yeah.
If you are creating something that is original to you and you want to be able to protect it, if you put that into one of these models, your input becomes someone else's output. And you want to be very careful about that. Like you can put things in ChatGPT and these models is, I'm thinking of the open models, not necessarily like an enterprise model or something that is closed and just for you. Um, But these models that most people are using are wonderful as like maybe a virtual assistant or to help you organize things, help you maybe plot out something. But those details that are your creative originals, whether you're a visual artist, whether you're an author, whether you're writing a screenplay, whether you're acting or trying things out, all of that goes in there and someone else, many others can use it. And you just have to be careful with that.
100%. Well, that definitely goes into this thing of, so say you're creating something, script, music, video, all of these things. I mean, basically, in order to protect yourself, I guess the first call you make is call you, right? To figure out like, what you need to have in place before, like, especially if you're going to make it a business. Um, but I think like it's really like figuring out, because sometimes people just want to have fun on the side, but then sometimes when you really feel like you want to like make it a business, I guess you're the first call. And so you help with like figuring out well, because like who owns it when you're using AI? I guess that's kind of the murky gray area right now.
So I'll answer you like a lawyer. It depends.
Yeah.
The who owns it portion is also, are you creating it alone? Are you creating it with a collaborator? Is this a team? Are you an employee? Are you a solo? Like it depends on let's just say you're one person to make it easier and you're using AI. If under the copyright laws of the United States right now, you cannot get copyright registration over something that is AI generated based on prompts. It has to have a human authorship to it. Okay. So if you say, I want you to say, write me a screenplay and I want this theme and I want that theme and I want these characters, blah, 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 and blah, blah, that is not protectable. So it's fine if that's what you want to do. But if you want to go out and actually sell it to a distributor, I guarantee you're not going to be able to, because you're going to have to sign a contract that says I represent and warrant that this is an original and I will indemnify you and pay your legal fees if you're sued. Also, like I said, other people can use it. It can be a little more generic and you can't protect it. So if you have to go after someone and enforce your ownership over it, you can't. So that's super important. Like it has to be an original work of authorship that's fixed in a tangible medium. That's it. But it has to be human authorship.
So I guess the question would be who's going to figure out if you've used AI? Like because sometimes you could use it as an assist to get
well, that's like, I mean, if I'm an artist, for example, and I create an original work of art and then I use AI to move things around, that's okay. I can register that with the Copyright Office because it was original human authorship. And what happens is anything from that becomes a derivative work that I still own, even though I was helped with AI. But I didn't say to AI, create this, do that. I created it to begin with. So what you're supposed to do, it's on the honor system. I mean, people have tried to register with the Copyright Office and have been rejected, and it's been appealed and appealed and appealed, and it still has been rejected that it's not human authorship if it's solely based on prompts and you're not originally creating it. You're supposed to disclaim when you file what's yours and what's AI. And then the Copyright Office examiners determine the registration status of that. So, but there have been cases also where someone registered an original art and it turns out that the examiners found out it really was created by AI and that was tossed out then. The registration was deemed invalid.
Interesting. Well, one more thing to just add here before you jump in, Michael. There's a silver lining. More work for lawyers.
That's right. And I was going to say, I bet the copyright examiners wish that they could use AI to assist them in examining the copyrights.
I am sure. I mean, I can't swear on this, but I'm sure they're using some kinds of things. And again, if you use, like, I'm sure everybody uses some sort of AI in our work on a daily basis. Like spell check is kind of an AI kind of thing, but it's the generative AI open-ended systems that are very different. And when you're talking about creatives, you're sometimes in an office situation where you're using a more protected product. But even some of the major products, I don't want to, call out, but there's a massive company where most of us have this software on our desktop. And it turns out that if you are using this AI program and you're in the HR department and there's someone in the accounting department, you both can see each other's files. But you're not supposed to be able to. But because of the way the AI program was written, you can see into personnel files or into finances that you're not supposed to be able to do. So even in those closed systems, there may be issues. I'm kind of talking here more about the generative AI that a lot of people just have easy access to.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay, so while we're talking about cutting edge topics, especially with regard to the entertainment field and people who are visible to us via social media, especially. So I want to get into the topic of influencers and really starting up or trying to make a digital brand profitable. So as we know, many influencers are basically like businesses,
Mm-hmm.
human businesses just sort of churning out all this sort of advertising money and seeming like they're just really just killing it out there. Um, but I'm sure there are many, many legal pitfalls
Oh,
to this line of work, even though it really, really looks good when you're on social media and you're looking at their profiles. So, do you,
that's the art.
yeah,
Yep.
do you work with influencers? And if so,
Yeah.
what are some of the legal issues that you come across with them?
It's a great question because a lot of people think, well, I could just be an influencer. It takes so much work
Yeah.
and it takes teams and it takes, like any other good business, you need your team of advisors. You need your lawyer. You need your insurance person. You need your accountant. You need you need your people around you because there are so many things that go into it. It's, there are some things I would say to look out for. For example, like there are morality clauses that are in, if you're going to be an influencer for a brand, and you get stopped on the street and you're doing something wrong, or you get arrested, or you get something, I mean, you can really lose everything. And on the other side, if I'm, working on behalf of a brand who's hiring an influencer, you can bet we are locking down that person. I think there were a couple of years ago, one of the celebrities, like the pop stars, was a Coke influencer but was caught drinking Pepsi. And that was such a minor thing, relative to what you can do and see today. So there are a lot of things, but it is, Michael, you're right. It's a business. You need a contract. You need to know what's the term. How are you getting paid? What if you're an influencer? Do I have an audit right? You should be having an audit right to go in to be able to audit the books and records to find out how many things are directly attributable to what you're doing. What's the territory? It can be a global territory if you're a digital influencer, but a brand may only want you for North America, or you may want to do certain things. Can they dub over in another language if it's elsewhere? There are, and also, how do you get out if something happens? Like, what happens if the company tanks or does something that's reprehensible to you as an influencer? You have your own brand. What happens if the company does something that you don't agree with? Do you have an out? Like, there are a lot of different things to think about in the contract.
Of
So,
course, and that's why it's important to have an
Yeah.
attorney review
yeah.
any sort of brand related deal to
Yeah. And also, you have your own trademarks, I presume, because influencers should. So the question of how do you use each other's marks and how do you represent that you're working together, kind of thing. And then there's regulatory stuff. If you're an influencer for a brand and you're getting stuff, you have regulatory requirements to report things when you're influencing. You can't just say, I happened upon this product, or I think this is a great resort. Folks looking at you have to know you've been paid to do this. There are a lot of things that go into that.
yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. So, like, I know people have reached out to me before, and I don't really like delve into all of that yet, but be like, oh, brand deal, or can we send you, like, somebody sent me some items, and they were
Mhm.
like, can you do some ad on this, or can you, like, put this on social media? And like one or two things I was like, yeah, I like played around with it, but it's like it's a lot of work, number one. And then I was kind of like, well, I don't know so much about this company, and
Mhm.
or they're coming. Sometimes it's from like overseas, and then you don't want to be associated.
Yeah.
You don't know. So I guess obviously first thing is check with an attorney or like ask to see some type of contract because sometimes they just send it to you in a message, and you're like, well,
Yeah, and that's also, if that's how they want to work with you,
yeah,
I would be hesitant to
yeah,
actually work with a company where you don't have a person or someone where there's actually some kind of legal document. If
yeah,
you're A lot of times with the overseas companies, they have US based offices. And when you want to have, your choice of forum for the jurisdiction, if you have to sue or something, if you can make it United States, New York, things like that. So you don't have to go to China or go to India or go to wherever the company is.
Right.
yeah. Philippines. That was one of the ones that reached
Mhm.
out to me at least, and and then they want your address, and then it's
Yeah, don't give away any
yeah, yeah,
personal
yeah, yeah,
information.
yeah. It's
And
which
also, and another thing with the gig worker mentality, trust your gut. If someone came to you with this, whether or not it's legit, if you feel like it's off, don't go. There will be other people who want to
yeah.
work with you. There are always other people who are above the board who want to work with you. Always trust your gut, because a lot of folks in the entertainment business are used to pleasing. How do I get the director what they want? How do I do this? How do I deliver this? How do I write this? But it's your body, it's your image, it's your reputation, it's your brand, and you have to feel comfortable with it.
No, totally agree. And I think that's one reason why people should have an attorney. Number one, like knowing, like you'll know, like, because I didn't even think about like territories, exclusivity,
Yeah.
payment, all that stuff. But having somebody kind of like in the middle, because sometimes when it's
Mhm.
you, it's like a little too personal. Or actually, another
Yeah.
thing I was thinking, sometimes people are reaching out to you with like child products, because that's a whole nother thing if you really want somebody
Yep.
in the middle. So I think,
That's what I always say. Blame the
yeah,
lawyer and keep your
yeah,
relationship. Say, my lawyer said I have to.
yeah,
And that way you
exactly.
still are able to have your relationship. Yep.
Yeah, 100%. And I think nowadays with just everything being online,
Hmm.
there's so much, there's going to be a lot more of that coming out there. And with people starting different like side businesses.
Yep.
So I think definitely having like something like your expertise and knowing, like, I mean, I read contracts too, but I would see that and I'd be like, I guess it sounds good, but you'll know, oh no, this is
Yeah.
strike this. That's really, oh wow, you're getting this. That's amazing. They
Yeah.
don't usually
So
offer that.
the more you review your contracts, the more you're going to be attuned to, oh, I like that. Oh no, I know I didn't like that in my last contract.
Right.
Or that's really good. Or this is not in here. I think we need to have this because this worked before. And then you
Yeah.
you need to be more than your profession. You need to be the professional business person. And that's what a lot of folks don't know, and why it's good to surround yourself with people who know what they're doing. But also, it's really important to know, what are my finances? What do I want? What don't I want in my legal contracts? What's my capacity? If you're already on 3 different jobs, but this other opportunity comes through, is this the right time for you to sign it?
Mm,
And you have to actually think about that rather than just being like, I really want this work.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
So let's go through just a quick scenario here. I'm sure you've seen this many, many times. So you got, say, for instance, two individuals, they're founders, they want to build a brand, whether it's
Mhm.
YouTube, podcast, or any sort of social media marketing. Um, so what do you recommend? Now, let's assume, we could talk about conflicts all day, but let's assume, no conflicts, or if you want to bring up conflicts, that's fine. So what do you tell them from day one, how they should really think about structuring this, whether or not, they need an LLC or some other type of corporation involved and, potential trademarks. So what are your thoughts on that?
Great question. I love how it was such a softball, and I appreciate that. So, yes, always. First of all, we want to know what's the relationship. If we just say we're doing two people and they want to start, I love starting businesses, especially small businesses with LLCs, because for tax and reporting purposes, it's a lot gentler on you, and it's a great vehicle. If you have a corporation or an LLC, then you can, unless you breach your fiduciary duty and you go against the interests of the company, alleviate your personal liability. So your kids' college fund, your cars, your mortgage, nothing can be attached if you're doing the up and up with the business. And people who have a problem with the business can only sue the business. So I would say corporate entity first. When you create an LLC, you then have what's called an operating agreement. And a lot of folks who form an LLC don't necessarily put together their operating agreement, but this is the most important part of the business, because the operating agreement will give you the roadmap to the relationship among the members of the LLC.
Mhm.
And if you have a corporation, they're the stockholders or shareholders in an LLC, they're called members, and with each other. So it's the roles and responsibilities and the lifetime of the business. Like, what if someone wants to leave? What if someone dies? What's the role? Are you putting in capital? Are you doing in kind of services? All of that is there. So if later on they decide to have what I call a business divorce and they have to go to Michael can look to that contract and say, these are the terms that you laid out. So this is going to be a clean separation, or cleaner than otherwise. And that's super important. And then once you build up your business and your assets, the next very important thing is your intellectual property. So that's any content that you're creating. If it's original, fixed in a tangible medium, I would say you'd want to register it with the Copyright Office, because if you don't, you're unable to necessarily go after others with the Constitution behind you, because the Copyright Act is part of the US Constitution. And if it's registered, you can file in federal courts. You can show that that is a prima facie, as they say, it's evidence that you've created it. You can get statutory damages, which are set by statute, instead of real damages or actual damages, which could be the difference between $150,000 and $6. And you could potentially get legal fees if you win. So it's really important to do that. And also, as you said, your trademark or your service mark, depending on what you do. If you are an influencer, you're doing a service, and if you have your brand, or if you have a podcast, or whatever it is, it's really important to protect that, because the intellectual property of the business is what makes it valuable. That's why people are coming to you. And if you want investors or you want to sell, they're going to want to make sure that you have the rights to that. Just as a basic start. And then, agreements. And then you want contracts. Are you bringing in people to work for you? Are there employment agreements? Are you hiring contractors? You need independent contractor agreements. Are you bringing in a designer to create logos or merchandise? Do you have a work for hire agreement with that designer so that you actually own it? Or if you don't have that language, you only have a license. So there are a lot of different things to think about.
Very
Yeah,
interesting.
totally,
And
totally.
actually, you mentioned this a few times about trademarking.
Mhm.
I know about that, but I think like for listeners, what does that process really look like? If you have to say you want to trademark your logo or whatever property.
So a trademark is a source or service identifier. So, yours, you have a beautiful trademark.
Yeah.
So people will look at your logo and know that the service emanating from this is the podcast. And that's they know, if they look at it, they know it's the same quality. So it's important to protect that, whether you're doing a product or products, or services. And it could be words, it could be a picture, it could be both, but that is done through the Patent and Trademark Office. I highly recommend you have a lawyer who's familiar with trademark law do it, because it is not the easiest process, and it's more expensive than copyright. The Copyright Office is very easy to go through in terms of the process. It's far less expensive, and the agents there are super helpful. You need a little bit more with the Patent and Trademark Office, but you get protection for a very long time, which is great. And what happens is, once you have that coveted R in a circle next to your name, that is, nobody else can use it for any kind of service or product that you make. Like if it's confusingly similar, you can go after them and stop them from doing it.
Yeah. I think anybody listening to this will immediately recognize the fact that they need a great entertainment lawyer like yourself, like Lauren and I. We were lucky enough to use you when we launched our podcast. So I think anybody again who listens will totally appreciate the fact that there are so many pitfalls that they have to account for. Of course, people come in with great intentions. They want they want their dreams actually realized, and
Mhm.
it's wonderful. We need that. We need these artistic individuals out there.
Yeah.
So looking ahead, though, going into the future a little bit, 3 to 5 years from now,
Mhm.
how do you see AI in particular shaping the entertainment law sphere, or entertainment generally, in New York, or in the U.S.?
I don't know. I
Yeah.
really don't know. I mean, it's moving so quickly, but at the same time, like I saw, like Sona just shut down. That incredible. They had they had an agreement with Disney to create all these wonderful things, and with lots of creators. But the environmental and other aspects of costs of using AI systems are so high that I don't think we can go on a trajectory forever. I do think that there's going to be licensing deals in place. I do think that AI is definitely going to take over a lot of what we all do. I mean, unless you're a plumber, or, I mean, even surgery is done by robots sometimes, but run by, operate at this point by humans. But unless you're in a trade that really involves your hands, AI is going to have a major impact, for better or for worse.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to eat up everything. Because also, people don't want to see, read, hear, watch AI generated stuff.
Oh
At some
no.
point, if the creators stop creating, there's nothing left for the AI generators to collect.
Right.
And so I don't think it's the end of the world. I think it's both fascinating and terrifying, and that we just have to figure out how to work with it.
Right. And I think we can agree that we're going to see, more lawsuits around potential
Yep.
issues of digital likenesses. Even if we don't see the actual lawsuits,
Yeah.
there'll be arbitrations. There'll be many different
Yes.
disputes and controversies. Uh,
And deep fakes. I think the scariest part are the deep fakes
Oh,
and what's really happening. How can you tell what's news and what's not? That to me is something that's really scary.
and what are you seeing, if anything, unions and guilds, are they doing anything to
Oh my
influence
God, this
AI
is
policy?
doing a lot. Because one thing that we've learned, you can't leave it up to industries to regulate themselves. And that's the SAG-AFTRA stuff that
yeah.
happened, and the
I
law,
was
like
on
I
the
was
line.
talking about, yeah, which is great. It's funny. I just watched an episode. I'm just getting now into the series Hacks, which I know I'm several years late for it, but they're
Love
on
it.
the picket line with Fran Drescher doing. I was like, I remember when that was happening. But yeah, you've got to be at the forefront and pushing. And there are a lot of negotiations and there are a lot of conversations happening. And politics is part of this, and big business is part of this. PE groups are part of this. Creatives have to be at the table in this, and also have to be willing to say, no, you can't use this. And that's a big thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, that's the
definitely.
comeback now. I don't know if you guys saw the comeback, if you're familiar with that.
I've heard of it. Yeah.
The Lisa Kudrow
Oh,
Mhm.
third
I heard that that was
season. It's
great.
over 20 years, but this one is about AI. This one is about what's happening in the creative industries, and it is fascinating to watch it in real time.
Mm.
Definitely. Yeah, I think when you said something about who wants to just watch AI generated content, I mean, that's like so, interesting for a second, and then like you don't
Right.
want to like just watch robots all day. How boring. I mean, that's
And
Personally,
again, if people aren't able to create because everything's being stolen, they're going to stop creating. And then
yeah,
what's the AI bot going to scrape from
yeah,
anymore? Like they'll just keep regurgitating the same
yeah.
things that are in their systems.
right. And personally, I identify as a human being, so I
Oh,
enjoy
it's
watching
good.
human being content. So this has been so
Yeah,
great, so
yeah,
informative, and we have to get to our final question here,
yeah.
which is a question that we ask all of our guests. And there's just so much going on in your world in the entertainment law field. So many areas of law touch upon what you do, and it's so interesting. So, what would you say? What's your main piece of advice to anyone, to a lawyer in New York who is thinking about getting into the entertainment field? What would you tell them? How would they make it in this field?
It's a good question, and I talk to people every day about this. I say get involved in like the entertainment, art, and sports law section of the New York State Bar Association. There are committees in the city bar. There's the I would say New York, California, depending on if we're talking about music, Nashville too. There are some real hotspots where you want to be when you're in entertainment. New York we happen to be lucky that we're surrounded by great people here. And learn as much as you can, ask as many questions as you can. If you want to get into entertainment law, take all of the classes that are offered in law school, because entertainment law is constitutional law, torts, criminal sometimes,
Yeah.
contracts. These are things you have to know. What happens is once you meet people and you kind of get on the job, that's when you learn the specialties. That's when you really learn what's going on in each one. So it depends on your why. If it's just entertainment law in general, I would say pick something. Do you want music? Do you want production? Do you want writing? Do you want dance? Do you want performing arts? Because there are a lot of different areas. When people come to me and they're like, I want to be in entertainment law, I ask them a lot of questions because I really want to know what interests them. What's their why? Because there is no such thing as entertainment law, because theatrical law, union or non-union is very different than if you're dealing with, a book publishing contract and then contracts that go on from that. Even if you're dealing with like movie producers and theater afterwards, the whole process is different. So it depends on what. And then I would say talk to as many people as you can. And when you get involved in the organizations that do work in the entertainment area that's the area of interest, do as much as you can. Talk to people, meet with people, do different kinds of things, or organize panels, meet, because the people on the panels are the people who maybe your mentors or future employers. Write articles, do research, make yourself available. I know I run a lot of pro bono clinics through the Entertainment Arts and Sports Law section for like with the Dramatist Guild, or we're going to the Huntington Art Council. We did the Graphic Artists Guild. Actually, so we're doing the Graphic Artists Guild next week. I have law students and young attorneys sit in with the senior attorneys, and they're able to see what it's like to counsel a client. And then they develop the relationships with the senior attorneys. So then when you're applying for a job, you're not just putting your resume out there. You're like, someone has you in mind already because you've already made an impression as someone who will do the work, who's interested enough to show up. Very long answer to a short question, but a very good question.
Very good answer.
And that's actually, it's funny because that's how I got my very first job in the entertainment industry. Is I was like an intern, and then I followed, and I went back to like one of the big wigs. I was like, I don't even know if they remember me, and I just said, I'm looking for a job. I want to move back to New York. Can you come Monday?
Yep.
And then I got
They
the
already
job.
knew
You
you.
be
They
here
knew
in
you,
3
so you had
days.
already proven yourself. Yep.
Yeah, and that's like an overarching theme that because we've been asking everybody who comes on our podcast, how do you make it? Hey, I think the answer is talk to people, get involved, get in front of people. It applies to every
Yeah.
industry because in New York,
Yeah.
it's just you're in the people business.
Yeah, and it's more than just showing up. You really
Yeah,
have to you can't,
follow up.
you're not just, you really have to put in the work and
Yeah,
build the relationships. I mean, Michael knows I say this all the time. You build your relationships and then you just
yeah.
never know and also be aware of the opportunities. Like,
Yeah.
be aware if something's happening, whether or not you want to say yes, if the timing's right, that could change your life.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Wow, this is
Yeah.
like so great. There's just so much, and you're a wealth of knowledge. You like any kind of entertainment thing, like I'm sure people can just like call you, email you. Do you want to like
And
share?
my consultations are always free. I'm always
Oh,
happy
great.
to talk to people to see what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where can people find you or reach you? And we can put all of this in our show notes as well.
Oh, perfect. So my website is eheckeresq.com, and my contact information is there. You're going to put it in the notes. So
Yep.
that's pretty much it. But
Perfect.
don't
Perfect.
call me at 1 a.m. I'm sorry, that's Michael only. I do set
Yeah.
boundaries. I've been doing this for a long
I
time.
can attest to that. I'm like, who are you texting? It's 1
I
o'clock.
am not a brain surgeon, but what I try to do is manage the expectations of time. So if it is an emergency, we deal with it when we need to deal with it, but not at 1 a.m.
Yeah. I guess litigation never sleeps. Jeez.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't. No, this is such a pleasure having you on. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And oh, let me ask like our tail end question because we're talking about entertainment. What's your favorite show or movie?
Hard. My favorite
They're
movie ever
watching
is
now.
Chariots of Fire, and
Oh,
it's an old one, and
okay.
also Dead Poet Society, which I really love.
Oh my God.
Um,
Dead Poets.
those are my favorite movies.
My captain, my captain.
Yes, Captain, my Captain,
Awesome.
absolutely. I don't really. I mean, The Pit. I can't. Every time The Pit
Yes.
ends and it goes black, I viscerally go no.
Yes.
So
Oh,
that's probably the one that keeps me coming back.
that one's Michael, we need to get into that one. I stopped watching that in the beginning when I first came out because I was in like giving birth and all that. So,
Yes,
so
you
I was
didn't
like, oh,
necessarily
it's
want to
too
see what
close.
could possibly happen before you gave
Yeah.
birth. I agree.
Too close. But now I think that's gonna be our next show because it's like fast, it moves,
Yes.
and yeah. And
It's so well written. It's so well acted.
yes,
It's such a diverse cast. I mean, they put the thought into everyday issues. It's fabulous. Yeah.
fantastic. Awesome. Well, enjoy this beautiful day.
Thank you. You
And
too.
thanks so much for being on our podcast.
Thank
This is
you.
fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Wow, that was so interesting. I feel like my head's spinning a little bit because now I just thought of about 20 other things I want to ask her and talk about.
Not only interesting, but inspiring. I mean, she is just so positive and she's just an amazing resource. I'm so happy that we had her on.
Yeah, definitely. And I think if there's anyone who, when you get these opportunities too, a brand deal or something comes your way and you get all excited, because I just know because I've been in that situation.
Mhm.
Now, if anyone's listening or needs like a resource, they just know someone to go to who they can trust. They actually can put a name to a face too, so you get to like know the person a little bit. So I think it's a really good opportunity. But there's just so much out there and in the future that
Mm.
I think it's really important to educate ourselves about all of these AI, brand deals, digital protections, all these different things.
Yep. And hopefully with this episode, we provided our listeners or our watchers, our viewers
Hmm.
with, some sort of background or some sort of framework that they can use or think about if they are involved with any of these types of deals or any, in the negotiation process.
Absolutely. Well, that's how we make it in New York as an entertainment attorney. And we have so many more exciting guests coming up this
Yep.
year. So we can't wait for our next one. So stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned.